should be live. If you can give me a short message that we are. So. Yeah, I can see me online. So I think we are about ready to start. So with Shenya's approval, I say first of all, hello and apologies that I'm not on site today in Kiev because some really urgent matters have kept me, but I will be in Kiev next week on Monday, from Monday the entire week. So yeah, very much look forward to any follow-up meeting from that if you wish. The topic today is really entering the Asian market, and that is for some very uniquely challenging, and we have done a few very successful cases, and I want to share with you some examples. So what I will do now is launching you my presentation material, which should be visible with you in just a few seconds. I have a test screen here with me so I can check it when it's online, and then I'm going to really talk about. So I hope you're going to enjoy the next 35 minutes. I've also enabled the questions and answering application. So if anybody who is present online in the digital world on their desktop, you can post questions anytime during the presentation, and I will have Shenya on site coordinating local questions at the digital lounge in the Atlantic group. So I can see that you can only see my screen, so I'll try to change that. Just a second. So I'll go into full screen mode, and you should be seeing that very shortly as well, and hopefully that's gonna make the process now flowing smoothly. Check. Why is it not there anymore? Okay, so let's talk about the Asian markets. Just got one more message. Just getting the notification that I should wait because people are not fully ready yet in the digital lounge. So that is not a problem. I will be waiting as requested, and then see that we really get it smoothly going ASAP. That away. Yes. Yes. Hey. No. Not really. We can. Yes, we can. We could do that. But yes, I can see you, but it will be very irritating because the, the the Google Plus will be delayed. So the broadcast is slightly delayed by 10 seconds because I'm running over YouTube. So it would be much better if we do a Skype follow on my presentation. So I do a 30-minute presentation, and then I would recommend then we go into a Skype. So hopefully we're back online. If I stop it, I apologize for that. If I stop it, then literally I have to invite you on a complete new link. So that would be very unfortunate. With Jenya's approval, I will just now restart and share with you the presentation as we discussed, the market entries into the Asian markets. It will run about 25 to 30 minutes. I will go through it very slow and very detailed, and then I would open it up to you for Q&A, and probably in parallel with the Skype call as well, as you just witnessed with Zhenya. So what is the market entries? I mean, where are the challenges in the digital media, and why should I focus on Asia? What makes Asia so very, very special? First of all, Asia is unique. I mean, 60% of the world population lives in Asia. Most of the digital people actually look into North America, look into the USA, look into the broader approach, see what Google, Facebook, Twitter, all the big platforms are doing in North America, and try to replicate that. But most of all, literally, the cultural differences are not, or are hardly considered, especially by brands when they enter the market. And Asia has always been very much neglected in that sense. So give me just a second. So I do apologize. All the testings, all the people online, I can see we have quite a number of visitors online in the audience. I apologize for this delay, but the audience in the digital lounge is not fully ready yet. They had transmission problems with syncing into the material, which should be really done in the next 2 to 3 minutes. So I'll hope for your patience. Stay with me, and then I will start very, very soon and very, very shortly with the overall presentation. for all the people just waiting, you're experiencing the same than me. I apologize for this delay, but the digital lounge in Kiev is not fully ready, so I'm just waiting for the sign to start, and then I really apologize for this slight delay. Once again, I apologize for the slight delay. We should be ready in the next 1 to 2 minutes. I'm just waiting for the notification from the digital lounge in Kiev to be starting with my presentation, which will just be done in just a couple of minutes. As soon as I get the sign, we will dive into the topic. It will be around 25 to 30 minutes presentation on the Asian market, the current topics, why is the Asian market so relevant, and a case which we then can discuss about the football club entering it into the market. Here we go. I get the sign. Just 1 second. Yes, Shenya. Okay, that sounds perfect. Yep. So we are about to start. Just get a little introduction done locally and about to start into the markets. Okay. Hi, Oksana. Hello, everybody online. Thank you so much for the introduction, for the kind words, and I welcome you to the presentation, which hopefully will give you some really interesting insights, some cases, and really the pragmatic approach why Asia Pacific is a very interesting market for you. So the presentation overall is structured for the next 20 to 25 minutes, and we'll hopefully be able to gather all questions. The application in itself is really ready and equipped to get into Q&A, and I look forward for your feedback, and hopefully now you'll be really enjoying the slides I've prepared for you for this morning. First of all, the question is, why should I look into Asia? Why is Asia so interesting for me and my organization. The following slide actually pretty much gives the answer. If you are in a B2C, in a business to customer or consumer environment, 60% of the world population resides in Asia. 1.35 billion people in China, 1.2 billion people in India, 240 million in Indonesia, and lots of digital marketeers usually go a very common approach, that they see what the platform developers, the Facebooks, the Google Plus, the Twitter, the Foursquare, etc., all those platform providers develop in North America, and then replicate what has been a very successful case in North America to the local conditions in its respective country. I personally see that hugely critical, because the North American culture is very different to a European culture or to an Asian culture. And when you see the population in the world with 60% living and residing in Asia, it's very, very important to look overall, look into the markets. And not only do you have the consumer or a huge target audience in Asia, you also have to see the technology innovations coming from Asia, the likes of Samsung, the likes of LG and Sony, and some you will learn today because you probably did not hear so much about Tencent, Sina Weibo, Youku or Renren, which are social media platforms very heavily used in the Asian markets. So why, the ultimate question is why Asia requires a slightly different strategy, and really the slightly is in brackets set because it is very important that it only needs a slight modification on your overall strategy. Let's look into the overall challenges people have in the digital market. Why is the converging or the evolution into digital so overall very, very challenging? Because first of all, a digital strategy is very often misaligned to the business objective. Because the communications department or the marketing department really starts a digital activity without coordinating with the product team, without coordinating with other stakeholders of the organization, and really want to be part of that social media stream in the society, because irregrettably or undoubtedly, social media is arrived or has arrived in all societies all around the world. We have 28 million Facebook users in Germany, of which are 18 to 19 million active every day. And you will be very surprised that Tencent has about 400 million users on their social media platform. Sina Weibo has 600 million users on their social media platform. And until today, you probably barely heard about them. And then, obviously, once you see a competitor working, or you see other markets, the other markets have been working, those digital strategies work really very different for different organizations. And it's the key to get your business objectives aligned with the resources, aligned with the timing and the content you want to distribute in the digital channels. That's really, really crucial to have that. And the early adopters, they are very, very ahead of the curve, because very often a digital strategy starts with trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. But digital now has matured. I mean, the platforms are 5, 6, 7 years old. The mobile market's coming in. And when you look into one very, very upcoming social media platform, which is called Instagram, it does not appear anymore on the desktop. You cannot do anything on the desktop anymore, because it's solely 99.9% working from the mobile phone. And that has to be considered, because that really impacts the digital strategy. And Asia-specific challenges, because of the very different countries, the traditions, the history those countries have with each other, you need to impact the multiple language factor, the multiple interest factor, the multiple values factor, and then separate where Facebook has really replaced Mixi, which is a social media platform in Japan and is becoming the strongest social media platform in Japan. China is very unique because China has banned all the global platforms. And partially the reason is because of the spying possibilities. I mean, in Central Europe, we have the discussions about national security, the NSA in the US, using social platforms to identify possibly influencers or opinion leaders. So in China, Facebook, Google Plus, or Google itself, Twitter, YouTube, they are blocked. And you have to work with local platforms. The previously mentioned Tencent, the previously mentioned Sina Weibo, and then you have Renren and Youku. As those four are basically the most mature, the most established, and the most credible platforms in China. But their behaviors are very, very different. When you think that you're growing very, very nicely, sometimes the platforms, they tend to give you a number of, let's say, dead profiles that you can see the progress is going. So always go into the interaction mode. That is very, very critical and crucial in China. And now I want to give you a case study of football. And I know football is not a brand and it might not be relevant, but I have especially created that case study that it's not dominating about the content, but I want to give you the insight, what considerations have been evaluated prior to starting the overall launch of the platform or before it started. Of course, it's a football club which has sporting success. It has won national championship in 2011 and in 2012, and in the past 2 seasons it's been always a title contender. The international presence is guaranteed through Champions League matches. But out of this, which most of the brands already have because of TV, and TV and radio and classical media, printed media, plays a significant role in the strategy. The brand visibility is the key, and you have to understand the user behavior of an online person, of a Facebook person, of a Google Plus person. Every person in social or digital wants to belong to a winner. So if your brand is winning above another brand, if your market share is growing, if you have positive things to communicate, it is very, very likely that people will follow you, because who wants to belong to a loser? It's the question in itself already lies the answers. So an approach in social has to be positive, it has to be spiritual, it has to be friendly, because of the above mentioned reasons that the national championships and the title contenders and the international matches are there, the club's brand, the logo, the club's name became more visible. And that was actually the starting point we had for launching the profile. So in discussion prior to launching, we identified really 3 key principles for the strategy into the Chinese market. All postings, they need to be relevant to the target audience. We only post items which we believe we are even interested in to read about. Information needs to be trusted. If you make a recommendation, I always call it like an Amazon effect. If I go to the Amazon page, I come to the first page I'll see is I get my preferred or possibly preferred reading material or music material, and then the recommendations by the followers, they give me help and make it trusted that my purchasing request is the right one, or my purchasing execution is the right one. And the third real aspect, be valuable. Be valuable. Share what is the value of your product, what is the value of your institution to do so. And if you have very clear answers for those 3 key items, then I recommend really to proceed with the digital strategy, because when you go into relevance in the approach, the information, as I stated earlier, needs to be very interesting to the target audience. Information which cannot be gathered in magazines, in media, behind the scenes are very important to people. If you have a production chain, give an insight into the production chain. If you have people who are very important in your day-to-day work, let them also be your voice, and then it will be successful in those markets. Because the more relevant the information is you're going to post, the more trusted is the source. And that's how many media companies, media and TV stations have really become. Because if you hear the news from this TV station, then it's a trusted source. And if the news has been relevant, the news has been actual, the news has been key, then you're trusting this information and you check with your friends and colleagues. But digital is slightly different, because in digital, once the person really follows you, the information provided needs to be in a friendly, informal style. Because you need to imagine, if you go into Facebook, and with the change to Facebook Chronic, basically Facebook, the reader has access to all your information already without pressing the like button. So if he presses the like button, which means that he really wants to be part of your organization, he wants to receive relevant and trusted information, it's already a trusted person you have identified. Therefore, the third part, providing him with the valuable information, is the key to bond the person, and is close to all three items up front as well. So information you provide needs to be actual and need to benefit the reader, because social transfers into real life through discussions with friends and colleagues, and therefore is really an important aspect which you have to consider. So what we have learned throughout the first postings, the first week, the first 10 days, the Asian online community was less caring about the brand or the club. They wanted to learn about the influencer about our brand and club. Who are those people who lead us to success? Who are those people who bring us success, bring us the visibility? So the community in China is very attracted to the players, and the players have become brand ambassadors. And the brand ambassadors are really very crucial, because you also have to identify for yourself, who are my brand ambassadors? More and more stars, artists, singers, football stars, sports stars, athletes are used as brand ambassadors, as testimonials, as you will probably know it. But in the digital world, they are really brand ambassadors, because those brand ambassadors help you to overcome possible challenges in the terms of trust, in terms of relevance, and in terms of value, because the people want to see those brand ambassadors. And the other learning is that sponsors and business partners, if you have those, or if you are engaged with a sporting organization as a sponsor or a business partner, in Asia they are very well accepted, because they see that a company, an enterprise, is helping with his funding to make the sports organization more successful. So it's a different value perception in Asia than we have in Western Europe or in North America. Because in North America and in Europe, if you as a sports organization post a sponsored post, you will have no more interaction. Very few people will like it. Even less people will talk about or make comments and statements. They will always come back to the success. And the challenge for sponsors in that environment is, if your sports organization doesn't have a lot of success in the arena during the matches, then obviously your brand and you as the sponsor for these organizations are severely impacted with a negative image. And obviously we want to do everything to avoid that. So what are the learnings or the results of the launch going exactly as described earlier? So the launch date was February 22nd of this year. Within the first week, we had 47,000 followers. Then we modified posting more relevant posts with the players, have the players as brand ambassadors, have less information about the environment, or the club or the history of the club, because those things, they will come throughout the time. First, you need to have really reach to the heart of the people and have to be really relevant and trusted by the people to enable the next steps. I checked just before we started, and we had 666,294 followers just in a matter of 4 months, 16 weeks, which is a tremendous success. So a lot of football clubs, and I want to give you a short overview of European clubs, have really entered into those markets, because when you see often the digital reach of those clubs have been discussed, and Barcelona, Real Madrid, the huge clubs, they have become brands, and they know the value of their brands. And Barcelona currently has about 90 million digital reach on all their social media platforms. But in Asia, they are quite a novice. They only provide a single platform, and they only have 3 million followers on that. Why is that the case? Because Barcelona has done a simple mistake, as to many other sports organizations or brands. Because if you become too valuable as a brand, if you become too valuable as an organization, you expect that you receive something in return. And obviously Barcelona has gained a little bit of a financial return from Tencent to just be exclusive on a single platform. And it's not the most commonly used platform, and obviously it's different to all the other platforms. So Barcelona is restricted to a single platform at the moment, and you can see that Manchester City, who in total at the moment has a global reach of about 20 million followers, has already 50% of its followership in China and in Southeast Asia, because those platforms, Tencent, Sina Weibo, Renren, and Youku, are not only active or restricted to the Chinese country or borders. They are very, very active in the markets. And one product from Tencent you probably have heard about, because it is entering the Western European market, and it is becoming a competitor to WhatsApp. And the service is called WeChat. And WeChat, which is locally called Weixin, W-E-I-X-I-N, is a product which is basically, you are becoming a broadcaster. And what is happening in the digital environment at the moment, especially to news, to newspapers, to digital media houses, obviously social media has become so established in the society that the daily newspapers are really becoming challenging and write very negative about the development of social media and social networks, because they are be substituted. I followed the history and the past few months in the Ukraine. Facebook has always been a very trusted platform to coordinate activities. Here in Germany, we had a very huge flood last year in Bavaria, in the southern side and in the eastern states. And the daily newspapers and their portals, you read the newspaper today, and the next newspaper you read tomorrow. It could not provide the amount of support to the people that Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and all the social networks have become the platform to interchange, where the flood wave was coming. People were helping to stop making the damage even worse, because they could coordinate through social networks. And that is actually something you should really consider. It's the benefit of social media. They are not enemies for you. They are really helping you in that sense. And I want to conclude in saying, how did Result derive to the situation and to the position that we have done today is, so we're an organization which is 5 years old. We have multiple locations in Europe. We have about 12 employees, and they're only focusing on digital media in sports, and digital media with organizations surrounding that, like sponsors and business partners. But the sole focus, which every single step you should do in the digital world, is not only focusing on digital marketing. The key thing is, once you've started a profile on any single network, you need to monitor, because you need to know who are those people I'm engaging with? What is relevant for those people I'm engaging with? So monitoring should be immediately with that. And then step 3 should be the monetization. Step 3 should be the factor where you can really engage with your audience try to make it a monetized environment. So here are just some of the activities we're doing. So we're doing club media reports, digital change management, community management. We do seminars and trainings, workshops like you have today, and we write every month a magazine, which Shenya already has distributed into the markets. It's growing its reader base continuously. It's very dedicated to the market. It has case studies. It has numbers, digital tables. So hopefully, in a short nutshell, 20, 25, 30 minutes, you enjoyed what I had to tell you, and really want to come back to you and say thanks for the attention, and hopefully, yeah, you are coming with questions around the activities in Asia. Let's see. I see there are no questions, so I'll end the coverage and go into the Skype conversation, so you can see me in a second on Skype and liaise directly.